Continuing in our 2-0.5 on our 5.1 worksheet, we look at number 15. It says that great uncle Wilbert splits his inheritance equally between his 5 nieces and nephews. Unfortunately, each of them must pay a $7,500 inheritance fee to the state government. So if each niece or nephew got $237,500, how much money was great uncle Wilbert's inheritance worth? Okay, so there might be different ways that you could work this out. And one thing, I don't have it on here, but right above number 15, if you look at the directions, it does say to write an equation and then solve it. Okay, so we do have to have an equation of some sort, but we've talked about it before. If you're not sure how to do an equation, you could just try to work it out, and then from what you worked out, you could try to make that into an equation if you wanted. So one thing we could look at is what each person actually got. So we could say what they actually got plus their fee plus the fees gives us the total. So what they actually got was each one actually got $237,500. 5 people got that amount though, so we would want to take that amount times 5. The fees, inheritance fee, $7,500, but each one of them also had that. And then you could do T for total, or whatever letter you wanted to pick there. Okay, so even though they're not getting the inheritance fee, that was part of the inheritance originally. So what they actually got combined with what the fees were would be the total. So we could go ahead and multiply these. If you multiply the first two numbers, would be 1,187,500. And multiply these other two numbers would be 37,500. And then at this point, the variable is actually by itself. So these are just like, these are like terms that we could combine. So we could add those together, and that would be $1,225,000. Something else you can do if it's helpful to you when you're doing a problem like this would be you could try to draw out a diagram. You could say, like, you know, here's the inheritance, and it's being split to 5 different people, and then plus there's this other amount that's going to the government. Okay, and we know the amount each person got. These circles are too small to write this all in there, but we know each person got $237,500. So you could put that, you know, next to each one of these circles, or inside these circles if you draw it big enough. And then the government got it would be 7,500 times 5. That would be another way, if that helps you to visualize and think about what's happening on that problem. So we look at number 16. Department of Designing the Death Star had a lot of money in the bank account, then received a large donation of $13,000 from George Lucas. Okay, so this is about Star Wars, if anybody's not familiar with this. And George Lucas is the one that created Star Wars, so. Okay, so they had a lot of money, then they received this donation. And then they decided to split their money equally between the 3 research projects. So if each research project got $25,000, how much money did they have in the bank account originally? One way we could work this problem out is just to think chronologically what's happening. Also think about what is it that we're trying to find, which is how much money they had in the bank account originally. So that's going to be our variable on this problem. Okay, so we could say maybe let M represent how much money, and we could say in dollars. Was in the bank account. Originally. Okay, so then we could just kind of chronologically think about what's happening here. So the very first part, it tells us they had a lot of money in the bank account. We don't know how much that is, but that is our variable we just defined. So M is how much money is in the bank account to start with. Next, they got a large donation of $13,000, so that's going to increase the amount they have by $13,000. So since they're splitting the money equally between 3 research projects, we could take this amount that they have and it could be divided by 3. If you want to put your force field parentheses around the M plus 13,000, you can. And then at this point, it just says each research project got $25,000. So since it tells us that each group got $25,000, we took the total plus our donation, divided it by 3. That would be equal to what one group would get, which would be $25,000. So this would be one way that we could write our equation. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties here. So at this point, to solve, this is kind of like when we did in class the other day together. They're dividing by 3, we would want to multiply by 3 next. Remember, we have that force field we can't get past yet. If you multiply on the left side, that cancels the 3's. On the right side, if you multiply that out, would be 75,000. And then at this point, they're adding 13,000, so we would need to subtract 13,000 on both sides of the equation. And when you do that, would be $62,000. So $62,000 was what they had to start with. Like I said at the beginning, there's different ways you could do this problem. Another way you could do this is you could say we had some money. So this is just another option, okay? We had some money, $13,000 was donated. And then really, if you think about it, this is how much money we have altogether. And then each group, there were 3 groups, and each group got $25,000. So this would be another way you could write the equation. Or if off to the side you said 25,000 times 3 is 75,000, and you could say, you know, M plus 13,000, that's how much we had, and that would equal 75,000. And then subtract, and you would get your answer that way.